stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chucky. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the business is. I was so good, like this where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, I best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They can be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us, so we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanize so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
We're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, your host and White House correspondent here in LA today. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm in touch until you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. That's me. And there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580 for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, do us all a favor and subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. Now, speaking of not missing out on anything, our KBLA Talk 1580 4th anniversary events are fast approaching. And seating at all of our special events is getting tight. I just got one question for you. Have you registered? Have you registered at our KBLA1580.com website? And if not, it's a good time to do it. Let me encourage you to stop and actually do it right now so that you don't get left out. It's our 4th anniversary, and we want to celebrate it with you. If you're planning to join us for our 4th anniversary celebration and barbecue on the Juneteenth holiday, we're asking everyone to bring a food gift card of any amount for the victims of the Altadena fire. Grocery store chain or restaurant, whatever it is, we're grateful for whatever you bring to help families that are still displaced by the wildfire. So go to our KBLA1580.com website right now and sign up for the events that you plan to attend. All of our anniversary events are free, but seating is limited, and so you got to register. So thanks in advance for doing that. Now, it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off right here in LA. My goodness, there's a lot happening here, and the reaction to Trump's crackdown on protest have certainly split across party lines. The Guardian reporting that unrest here in LA has been it's become a microcosm of the U.S. political divisions on immigration enforcement operations, with political leaders offering vastly different interpretations of the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops and the mass targeting of undocumented communities. The divide over the same events came into full view when California Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Auntie Maxine, was denied entry to an LA detention center over the weekend, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican colleague from Georgia, mocking her on social media, saying, quotes, Maxine Waters is big mad that she got turned away by ICE when she went to go check on her criminal illegals. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on X, comparing Waters' situation to her own denial of access to the DC jail to visit American citizens being held in solitary confinement. Greene later added that 2,000 National Guard is not enough for the LA insurrection and Democrat-led war on America. The exchange crystallizes the demonstrable split over the politicians. Democratic lawmakers condemn what they characterize as cruelty and a federal overreach, while Republicans defend Trump's actions as necessary law enforcement. And then there's California Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, who urged restraint from protesters, warning on social media that, quotes, violence is never the answer, and cautioning that attacking law enforcement officers plays directly into the hands of those who seek to antagonize and weaponize the situation for their own gain. Now, that's what our California senator said, our U.S. senator said. On the other hand, Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Tennessee Republican, posted, quotes, deportations have never sounded better. Several thousand protesters have so far gathered around federal facilities and City Hall in Los Angeles, with demonstrations spilling onto the freeway. I certainly saw some of the demonstrations on the 101. Saw people holding up signs above the 110 freeway. But with demonstrations spilling out onto the freeway and disrupting traffic throughout downtown, there are instances of where law enforcement officers were shooting non-lethal bullets at an Australian reporter. Did y'all see that? I saw that. Non-lethal bullets at an Australian reporter and a British news photographer. Heavy clashes with law enforcement and setting fire to autonomous vehicles. I think I read somewhere that Waymo said they were suspending service in certain areas until things get better, until the situation turns around. It's unclear how many National Guardsmen have actually been deployed by the president, but the Los Angeles Police Department declared downtown area unlawful assembly zone early on Monday morning. While in LA, been staying in downtown LA, and it seemed a little quiet late last night. It seemed a little quieter than usual this morning. But we're going to dig into all of the politics and analysis over what is happening here in Los Angeles. Today it's LA. Tomorrow it could very well be your city or a city near you. What is for sure is that this is not normal. Neither the mayor of Los Angeles nor the governor of California put in a request to the president for federal troops, for the president to nationalize the National Guard, federalize the National Guard here in LA. Nobody put in that request. But yet and still, he has sent the National Guard, he's activated them, and there are reports that they're activating another 500 U.S. Marines to also come into the city of Los Angeles. And so a lot of people viewing this as a provocation, as an escalation. We are going to read the tea leaves on that and more when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, we're going to talk to Democratic strategist Isaac Wilson. He'll be joining us, as well as a former White House fellow and former city council president, William Godwin. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast. Oh my God. But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say.
Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There'll be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Took the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
Hit me.
National News The Consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and joining us in just a moment, as soon as his camera turns on, William Godwin. He'll be joining us in just a moment. But a lot's happening here in Los Angeles, where federal troops, well, basically the president has federalized the National Guard. And they are here, and there is no sign quite yet. There's no sign that they are leaving Los Angeles anytime soon. I think we have William Godwin with us. Oh, well, he's on his way. As soon as we have him with us, we'll go from there. But What I'll do right now, I'm going to play a clip for you. This weekend, you might remember. This weekend you might remember that Tavis Smiley, Dominique DePrima, Adrian Shropshire, that Dion Raymond, that Dr. Melina Abdullah, so many folks who are part of the crew here at KBLA Talk 1580. We got together on Sunday, and we were a part of a 3-hour special where we talked to a whole wide range of folks, from Mayor Karen Bass, LA Mayor Karen Bass, to LA County Sheriff, and so many more. Connie Rice, the civil rights attorney that seems to always have her finger on the pulse. We talked to a number of people there, and so during these next couple hours, we're going to play some highlights from that conversation with those titans and with those leaders on the front lines. But we also want to make sure that we're unpacking some of the politics of what is afoot. And that's why I've invited two of our contributors to make sure this is an intergenerational conversation that we have over the course of the next 2 hours. Joining us now from South Carolina, Isaac Wilson. He's a Democratic strategist and he's former Democratic Party chair. Isaac, thanks for joining us.
Always be glad to be with you, brother.
We're always glad to be with you. So much happening here in Los Angeles, but not enough that folks are hearing from leaders in the Democratic Party in opposition to very dramatic actions by President Trump, federalizing the National Guard, not at the request of the mayor of Los Angeles, not at the request of the governor of California, but doing it on his own accord. Isaac, what do you make of this from your perch?
Well, in Donald Trump fashion, you make things worse. You do it your way, make things worse, and you don't care about the ramifications or the consequences that you cause. And I really think it is a let's send and do whatever we're going to do over here in LA. We got something to distract us from the tariffs. We got something to distract us away from the big, beautiful bill and all that's going on. So focus over here. And Donald Trump has a record of doing that. And so I think this is what this is. He took the opportunity to turn the attention to somewhere else. And that's not a president that we want, to put people's lives in danger, to tear up a city just because you want to shine a light off of DC and put it somewhere else. So this is like I said, it's Donald Trump fashion. And so I'm not surprised by it, but this needs to stop. And someone needs to come to the helm now before someone seriously gets hurt.
How well do you think Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and other leading Democrats in Washington are doing in response to this Trump-made crisis here in Los Angeles?
I think they're doing all they can. I mean, I know everyone wants probably Democratic leadership to come on the news every day and grip and but this is his call. He has the power to do it. He has the White House. He has the House. He has the Senate. And this is just his purview of power. So there's really nothing that Democratic leadership can just put their hands on to stop this, or something that he can just say to stop this. They need to start rallying around those Republicans who don't agree with Donald Trump, for them to stand up and start saying what needs to be said. And I say this with so much love. Everybody wants Democrats to stand up and just somehow magically say some words and Donald Trump is supposed to stop. No, what about the Republicans that are standing right by, who have the power, who have his ear to stand up and say, Donald Trump, enough is enough? That's what needs to be happening.
And it's not happening. There's been a deafening silence, not just from some of the Democratic standard bearers. I shouldn't say a silence, but I'm just saying it's been underwhelming. The response from Democratic leadership in Washington, and even more underwhelming than that has been the response from Republicans, who seem to be saying, "Go, President Trump, go."
Yeah, there's a lot of distractions that are in play right now, and so Republicans are going to be silent, as they always are. And then when something happens, they'll try to blame Democrats and saying that, hey, Democrats are the reason why we're here. We have laws in this country, and the Constitution says that have the right to peacefully protest. Nothing was going on. The mayor didn't call for this to happen. The governor didn't call for this to happen. There's something that you thought that should be done because you're on, I'm not going to say the wrong side, but you're on a much more aggressive side in handling immigration. And that's not what we do in this country. We let people protest for whatever they believe in if they're peacefully doing it. And I think that's what they were doing in LA. So, we'll see how long they stand back and allow their boss to make this crisis happen in LA.
I want to bring William Godwin into the conversation. William is a former White House fellow. He is also a former city council president for the city of Gary, Indiana. And so, William, as somebody who has a lot of experience in local government, I want to ask you, what do you make of the response of state and local leaders here in California, given, how unprecedented this is? I mean, most of the time, state and local leaders, they'll send an invitation to the president. They'll put in a request, for federal troops, for them to activate the National Guard. None of that happened here, but he did it anyway. What do you make of it?
Well, as the son of an Army National Guardsman, I understand the role of the National Guard. They are an entity of the state, even though they can be federalized. We know that's part of our constitutional process. I just don't think the actions quite merit that. And it's something that LA should be able to handle, that the Sheriff's Department should be able to handle. But I think given the larger framework of what state and local governments are facing in terms of funding cuts and other types of threats, they're handling it as probably best as they can, recognizing that this is not an issue in a vacuum. I think it is a distraction, but I think it's an opportunity for Donald Trump, right, to put a lot of pressure on California, on local government, as he makes other funding threats.
Do you expect obviously right now the city of Los Angeles and the surrounding area is still recovering from the LA wildfires. As I mentioned just moments ago, on Sunday here on KBLA, we hosted a 3-hour special, which included an exclusive interview with LA Mayor Karen Bass, where she's mentioned in that interview and subsequent interviews ever since, she's mentioned that, working with the administration on the LA wildfires, worked out pretty well. They were pretty collaborative. Things worked out pretty well on this front. With regard to what's happening now, it almost seems like a complete 180. It's very clear that the actions of this administration are complicating. They're complicating the work of our state and local government that is still reeling from the LA wildfires. What do you make of that?
I think you're absolutely correct. I mean, they make course corrections with the wildfires. There was also a lot of real estate involved, right? And a lot of very wealthy people were affected in that process, who I'm sure have their own line to the White House, right? And to significant folks in the administration. I still think if I were to put myself in Donald Trump's shoes, which I hate to even imagine doing that, you're setting a precedent. If this is your plan to do across the country, you're going to enforce a certain type of immigration approach, as it were. You can't have anyone get in your way, right? If this is what you're saying the law is, this is what you're saying your administration's priorities are, If the next city is Dallas or Houston or Memphis or wherever, he wants to squash any idea that organized protest, be it peaceful or otherwise, is going to stop his administration from fulfilling their priorities. So I get exactly why they want to be extremely aggressive and really to have a chilling effect on others who might try to do the same.
When we come forward, I really want to pick up on that thread right there, The Guardian reporting that Trump's LA protest response, it really risks turning the U.S. military into political force. That's what a lot of veterans are warning at the moment, saying that the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard's troops right here to Los Angeles, where we're broadcasting live today, his deployment of National Guard troops to LA to intervene in civilian protests in the face of opposition from the California governor and the LA mayor is a major escalation that risk the politicization of the U.S. military. Armed services veterans are warning this. This is that red flashing light. But the question is, will we heed this warning? Former top military figures have told sources that the decision to put up to 2,000 troops under federal control and send them into the streets of LA is a violation of the military's commitment to keep our domestic politics in a very, very narrow lane. And now this muddies the waters. We're going to get reaction from Isaac Wilson, Democratic strategist, and William Godwin, former White House fellow, former Gary Council president. We're really going to unpack the politics around this and really get a sense of, what's at stake when it comes to our right to peacefully protest. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is blaming former President Trump for sparking weekend violence.
It's the last thing our city needs.
She says ICE raids triggered fear that escalated when Trump sent in federal troops. While Trump claims he deployed the National Guard due to rising chaos, Bass and Governor Newsom are urging him to pull the troops from LA. Bass is also calling for continued peaceful protest. A former girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs, identified as Jane, told the court she feared he'd film explicit acts on his phone that others could access. She previously testified he forced her to have sex with 3 male escorts while he watched. And Black Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown is joining a multi-state lawsuit to block the release of forced reset triggers, devices that turn semi-automatic guns into machine guns. He says the move violates federal law and would increase gun violence and risk in Maryland communities. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Had trouble in West Los Angeles on the 405 southbound, the off-ramp to Santa Monica Boulevard. That crash has been moved over to the right shoulder and left things stop and go, though, from Wilshire Boulevard. In Moore Park on the 118 eastbound to Collins Drive, there's a wreck in the center divider with stop-and-go traffic forming around the 23. In Anaheim, it's tough going for the 91 eastbound between Glassell Street and Gypsum Canyon Road. Stop and go all the way.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year and their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Coco Gauff's championship victory in the French Open Saturday morning set up an interesting development in women's professional tennis. The first 2 Grand Slam events in 2025 have been won by African Americans. Madison Keys, a 30-year-old African American from Rock Island, Illinois, won the Australian Open in January. Coco and Keys will be contenders at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, the remaining 2 Grand Slam tournaments this year. Both are ranked among the top 10 in the world. Coco is number 2, Keys is 8th. With the $2.9 million she earned for winning the French Open, Coco's career earnings are now at $8.4 million since turning pro in 2019. Coco donated $100,000 to the United Negro College Fund to help support HBCU tennis programs. She also got the U.S. Tennis Association to commit $3 million to rebuild tennis courts in minority communities around the country. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell.
Good morning,
so
Mayor
we
Ben.
get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilman Curran Price, inviting you to join us on Saturday, June the 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we cut the ribbon on the brand new Enel Woods Park at 8703 South McKinley Avenue. Thanks to a generous donation from Heal the Bay, the park features smart irrigation, stormwater capture systems, and space for local wildlife to thrive. And we've built a walking trail, picnic areas, native landscaping, and quiet spaces for families to gather, relax, and connect. This is part of a much larger effort to expand green spaces across South LA with 3 new parks in the works, a first-of-its-kind community center coming soon, and plans to connect it all through the South LA Greenway. So mark your calendar for Saturday, June 14th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and come celebrate a greener, stronger South LA at Enel Woods Park. I'm also pleased to sponsor the Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium, moderated by Tavis Smiley, live on C-SPAN, Wednesday, June the 18th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Just a reminder to sign up right away at the KBLA1580.com website to join me, Mayor Karen Bass, Congresswoman Sidney Kamlar Dove, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson, Dr. Cornel West, former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., the Sierra Club's Ben Jealous, and other Black influencers in the climate and health fields, as we continue to amplify the connection between climate and poor health outcomes for our people. Thank you for listening. I'm Councilman Curran Price.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and really delighted to be facilitating this intergenerational conversation. For those of you who tapped in yesterday, I'm sure you saw that Tavis Smiley, Dominique DePrima, Adrian Shropshire, Dion Raymond, Dr. Melina Abdullah, so many folks from the KBLA family came together to co-host a 3-hour special on the situation here in LA, where President Trump has made the choice, the unilateral choice, to federalize the National Guard and use them to help facilitate his mass deportation efforts, these ICE raids here in Los Angeles. Joining me now to make sense of some of the politics around what's going on, I'm joined by Isaac Wilson. He's a Democratic strategist based in South Carolina. And then we're also joined with William Godwin. He is a former White House fellow and Gary City Council president. Thank you both for being here. And so before the break, we were talking about protest itself. I'm sure everyone here agrees in our right to peacefully protest, but our very right to protest may be at risk right now, where President Trump has chosen to federalize the National Guard, and some people believe politicize the military. William, you had mentioned that your father was a National Guardsman. How do you see this? Do you see this as the National Guard wading into the political swamps?
I think so. I don't think this situation quite merits the federalization or nationalization of the California National Guard, and now and even worse. I mean, sending in, I believe, Marines are supposed to be coming into California. I think it sets a very bad precedent. I think you should, at the very least, empower California State Police, local LA County, LA City Police to handle their own residents, right? Their own citizens. I think there's important questions of sovereignty and states' rights. We like to talk a lot about states' rights.
Yeah,
that are certainly at stake.
Yeah. While we fix the sound for William, Isaac, I want to give you a chance to weigh in. How do you see it?
I would have to agree. Donald Trump talks about giving the power to the states, but he picks and chooses when that should be, and that's one of these times here. This hasn't been done since the 1960s. You're talking about if you gave a number somewhere between 500 and 800 protesters, if you want to say that, but you're talking about 8,000 LAPD, one of the largest police departments in the country. They could certainly handle, and they are trained for things in this matter. The National Guard is not trained to go into civil disturbances or whatever you call it. They're mostly trained for national disasters, helping out people, that kind of thing. They're just not trained for this type of thing. So to use them in this manner and make them this way, I think is totally uncalled for. And then to bring the Marines to a domestic situation here in our 50 United States is diabolical to me. To say you're going to bring the Marines into this domestic situation here, it is crazy. It's uncalled for. LAPD could certainly handle this, and state police, as you guys mentioned. So we'll see what comes out of this. I think it's going to do more harm, and already has done more harm than anything else.
Speaking of doing harm, the Chicago Tribune is reporting that Chicago is now responding to President Trump's aggressive immigration raids. We know that as of today, that Chicago they have planned for a protest tonight and Tuesday night. Tonight's protest is to be held in front of the Chicago Police Department headquarters to denounce alleged cooperation of Chicago police with federal agents' arrest last week as they detained immigrants outside the U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement Office near the South Side. The police department has denied that officers aided the federal agents. William, you are not too far away from Chicago. They're a stone's throw from Gary. Talk to us about how these ICE raids, how these mass deportation efforts may actually be doing a lot of harm, particularly when it comes to sowing seeds of distrust between police and communities. If folks even just suspect that law enforcement is coordinating with the federal government, whether they are or they aren't, but if they just suspect that they are, that could be a huge step backwards in cities where there's been a lot of work done in recent years to try and bridge those divides between law enforcement and community.
Yeah, I think a lot of cities are struggling, as I said earlier, with this balance between wanting to ensure their funding is stable, right? You can only fight these threats from the White House for so long. And I think that while Chicago is a sanctuary city, it's a challenge, right, to keep that up, but also face the threats that are going to continue to come from the White House. But here's what I think is happening in Chicago. Mayor Johnson, even over a year ago, we were dealing with the busing from Texas, right? Faced a lot of criticism from his own base, including African Americans, who felt that there were too many rights, too many resources being provided to immigrants, right, who were being bused into Chicago, and protested heavily his own administration. So in some ways, and maybe the same for Mayor Bass as well, this kind of battle between cities and the federal government and this fight back is actually uniting a base of resistance. And I think for folks like Mayor Johnson, who suffered from a very low support, I think he was down at 8 or 9% voter support a couple months ago in Chicago, it may actually help his numbers. It may create something for communities that are diverse in Chicago to unite around in fighting back against these terrible actions of sending the troops, as it were, into cities like Chicago and other cities across the country.
Isaac, I want to give you a chance to sort of weigh in on the relationship between the politics of immigration, specifically mass deportation, and policing. We know that policing is a very serious issue in Black communities across the country, has been historically. We also know that historically, when it comes to issues related to immigration, there's been some mental hurdles that folks have had to overcome to be able to see that as an issue that is relevant to Black life at large in this country. A lot of folks have, quite frankly, seen immigration as a Latino issue and not a Black issue, which has been problematic for Black immigrants who sometimes don't feel seen as they should. And so talk to us about the collision of the politics of immigration and policing on the local level, and how you expect this might play heading into the 2026 midterm elections, if not sooner.
I will say this: we didn't have this this violence or this outburst of revolt, rather, when we had Democrats in there, because we handle things in a more delicate way, because we know that our country is bound together by certain rights. And so those rights say that you can come into our country, but you got to come here legally. Some people are coming here because of issues in their own homeland. They're trying to, their countries are probably fighting against them, not giving them resources, and they're fighting life, health, and disaster in the countries. And they're trying to come here to get a better life, kind of come here for safety. And so for Black immigrants, we've been fighting this thing forever, even as slaves coming from when they brought us here. So it is always going to be a tough conversation when we feel like the police are treating us the same way as people, that we're running from in those countries. So the way that this will shape in the 26th election is going to be bound by how you treat these people in the streets. And so right now, this is not looking good for Republicans and how they're handling it, because we can't do a mass deportation by just going to cities, rounding people up and just throwing them somewhere, not even to their own homelands where they come from, but just throwing them in some city or throwing them in a jail and taking away their kids and children. Handle this thing in a more delicate situation. And we know that immigration is an issue. We know this, but there are ways that we can do this, and there are laws in which we have to be bound by. And so this is not going to play well for Republicans in 26.
When we come forward, I want to dig a little bit deeper. ProPublica recently published an investigation on local police and how they're joining ICE deportation forces in record numbers, despite warnings that the program lacks oversight. Since the start of President Trump's second term, U.S. immigration officials have deputized a record number of local police to function as deportation agents, despite repeated warnings from government watchdogs since 2018 that the program does not adequately train and oversee officers. I don't think you have to be a genius to know that this is going to impact our communities in an enormous way. I'm thinking about just the work that mayors and council members and school board leaders have been doing over the years. If this bombshell investigation by ProPublica is true, there may be even tougher days ahead for us across America. I'm going to get Isaac Wilson and William Godwin's reaction to that and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent. And the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
no warrant, no key, my privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and potential treatment options, visit treatallzearly.com. That's treatallzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We are live in Los Angeles, and we have two of our contributors joining us from South Carolina. I'm talking to Isaac Wilson, who's joining us from South Carolina, and William Godwin. William, where are you today?
I'm actually in Portage, Indiana, which is very close to Gary, Indiana.
All right. And so we've got the South represented in this conversation. We got the Midwest represented in this conversation, because there are national implications for what is happening here in the city and county of Los Angeles. what's happening here, make no mistake about it. Today it's LA. Tomorrow it could be your city or a city near you. And before the break, I mentioned that ProPublica recently released a report on local police joining ICE deportation forces in record numbers despite warnings that the program lacks oversight. The expansion of what's called the 287G program is being driven by the administration's resurrection of a previously abandoned task force model, empowering local officers to question individuals' immigration status during traffic stops and other routine policing. At least 315 departments have signed on to more aggressive approach, which Immigration and Customs Enforcement abandoned in 2012 amid racial profiling problems in lawsuits. This seems to me to make a bad problem even worse. We know we have a problem with policing in this country. We know we have issues related to trust between the community and law enforcement. A program like this seems to further that schism between community and law enforcement. No, Isaac?
Oh, most definitely. This is definitely making things worse. We all remember sounds like stop and frisk when they had it in New York and everywhere else. This is a bad idea. I think you're going to see things with traffic stops and cops become a worse situation than before when you're talking about weapons. I know here in South Carolina, it's already bad. We don't have have to carry a license for a gun anymore. So having a gun in a car is already a dangerous thing. But now to say that I'm an immigrant, or you're asking about my ICE status and I got a weapon in the car, I could just see this thing being a snowball effect and causing so much chaos that don't need to be. You can find that out in another way, but do not do that during a traffic stop. You're talking about runaways. You're talking about them chasing people on highways and just creating a whole bunch of chaos that don't need to be, like we're seeing in LA. So wrong move, bad move, stay away from it.
William, overall, ICE initiated 514 new agreements with local law enforcement agencies across 40 states since January, as reported by ProPublica. Among the new partners are highway patrol troopers in Tennessee and officers with about 20 Florida agencies who in recent weeks assisted ICE with the arrest of more than 1,300 people. This is a problem that we are not talking nearly enough about. What say you in terms of where we go from here? You've been a city council president. You've had to work with local law enforcement very closely. How are you seeing this bubble up, and what can we do for folks who are outside of Washington? What can we do to register our disapproval of a program like this?
So I think a few things. Number one, policing is challenging all across the country. Take immigration out, take deportation efforts out, just providing the protect and serve, right? The citizens expect when they call, they'll get a response. That has been tremendously difficult, especially since George Floyd. So many folks don't want to become a police officer. And so cities are finding it very difficult to hire and retain police. Communities are very upset that they don't have enough police on the streets for their everyday concerns. And so I think once communities understand that resources, and that's both personnel, that's technology, all of that is being diverted from their day-to-day, their kitchen table, everyday concerns about our murders getting solved, our burglaries being averted, right? Our traffic violations being handled, right, in their community. When they see that there's not enough officers dealing with their problems, I think it beckons everyday citizens to go to their city council, to go to their state legislatures, which unfortunately many of them are out for the year and won't be back until next January. But in the interim, you should be going to your city council meetings. You should be letting your mayor know that you want your police doing their job, their regular job that they're paid from property tax dollars to do, and not acting as federal agents.
Yeah, I mean, this is really quite a situation we find ourselves in, Isaac. ICE officials have been touting the expansion of this 287G program, which, by the way, it's named for a section of the law that allows the delegation of limited powers to local officers. But a lot of ICE officials are touting this as a force multiplier to accelerate deportations and counter sanctuary policies that limit local cooperation with immigration agents. It's very clear to me that Black and brown folks are going to get caught up in this in a really serious way. We know that President Trump met just last Thursday at the White House with the Fraternal Order of the Police, who endorsed his so-called Big Beautiful Bill. It seems like we have lost a lot of gas when it comes to addressing issues related to policing here. Anything give you hope on this front?
Nothing gives me hope. If he's talking about immigrants, everybody in this country are immigrants other than Native Americans. And who's to say that this crazy man in that big old White House in D.C. won't come after me and my people, saying that we have to somehow leave and go back somewhere. So it's a scary time. Like the gentleman said, we worry about everyday crime and everyday policing, and now to add something else to my fear is just it's just crazy because it doesn't stop them from asking me my status. They can say that I said that I was from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And they can drag me out of that car and take me wherever they want to take me because they said I said or something like that. So these are the things you have to think about, that you're not safe because you're not.
That's right. That's right. My thanks to Isaac Wilson, Democratic strategist and former Democratic Party chair from South Carolina, Florence County, to be specific. Thank you so much for joining us. And also big thanks to William Godwin, former White House fellow and also former Gary City Council president. I really appreciate the perspectives that you all bring to this conversation from different parts of the country and different perches, as we're all doing our part to build a more perfect union. When we come forward in our next hour, I'm going to share with you some highlights from our 3-hour KBLA special on the ICE raids and the response by President Trump federalizing our National Guard. You'll have a chance to hear a little bit of my conversation with former New York Times opinion journalist Charles Blow, who has a special that is out on Hulu. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Is signing an executive order adopting an official definition of anti-Semitism to address rising hate incidents.
So we can't remain silent in a city where the Jewish community makes up 10%, yet comprise